Hello and welcome to the podcast in the words of Wusat. Today I'm joined by a famous Sri Lankan commentator, a renowned voice in cricket, Mr. Roshan Abeysinghe. Welcome to the show, Roshan.
Thank you so much. So nice of you to have invited me.
Great to have you as well. So how are you doing and how was your past 12 months been for you regarding the COVID situation and the lack of cricket?
Well, it's been challenging because there is something new that has developed with COVID, and that's what you call quarantine and bubble, which can be extremely challenging and which can be very lonely. And we're just trying to get used to it. I have already with two back-to-back series, the LPL and now the England series, I have endured as much as 22 days of quarantine, and the rest has been bubbles. So it's a new experience.
So talking about bubbles, so how tough it is for cricket boards to keep the bubble and keep the COVID away from the players. As you've seen in South Africa England series, they couldn't handle, they couldn't maintain the bubble well. And how Sri Lankan board is doing during this England series?
See, what the Sri Lankan board has done is they have been very strong with the health guidelines. They have used the health authorities' advice, and they've also deployed the military, which is pretty strong and no nonsense. So, despite all these, people, if they want to break the bubble, they could still do. You can't just tie them down. But I can tell you that most people, like the Sri Lankan board, has been extremely good that they have not allowed that to happen. So I think it's a responsibility of not just the board, it's a responsibility of the individual also.
Yeah, indeed. And how do you see in Sri Lankan cricket doing in second test? First innings was a disaster, as we can see, and then they improved in the second innings. And how do you see? Can they challenge England in the second test?
As far as I'm concerned, they can only go one way, and that is to go up, because I don't think they can fall any lower than what they did. Being all out for 135 on a pitch such as the one at Gaul was, I would say, very disappointing. And from a batting point of view, if I be blunt, I'll call it a disgrace. It should have never happened. In hindsight, if Sri Lanka had got 100 runs more in the first innings, the game would have been much tighter. I'm not going to say Sri Lanka would have won. They would have been the favorites to win, but it would have been much tighter.
So, do you see any changes in the second test, or they will go with the same lineup?
No, already they are released Kusal Mendis, which means he's not playing. So Dimut Karunaratne anyway is not going to be available. So the news is that Oshada Fernando might come into bat at number 3, and then the chances of Suranga Lakmal coming in replacing young Asita Fernando, and I've also heard spinner Ramesh Mendis may be included and given his debut for the leg spinning all-rounder Vanidu Hasaranga. So that's what is in the pipeline and spoken of.
Hopefully, they will do well in the second test. And as of LPL, talking about the LPL, how successful was it, and how much growth will it? How much it will grow and give Sri Lankan T20 cricket a chance in the future?
Well, I personally feel that considering the challenging times that it was held in, and also the very short period, the lead period it had, it was a absolute success. I mean, the coverage, the interest levels, certainly the pitches, the cricket, everything was really good for a first year. It can only get better. And I think it has the potential to grow if everything falls into place and, people don't do obvious mistakes.
Okay, and next year, as well, fans might come as well, so that might contribute to a more success.
Yeah, but that we are still not sure because, we don't know what the new trend would be, whether fans would be allowed into the ground. But that's a huge vacuum. You need fans in the ground, that's for sure. So if that's allowed, it will be fantastic.
Yeah, that will be an amazing thing. And I don't know when will fans be back, but fans are indeed in need of cricket needs fans. So, as we seen, do you wanted to talk about the Indian Australian series? So, how great do you see Indian win was in Australia?
I think possibly the greatest Indian win in the recent past. I think that was a magnificent performance. You can take nothing away considering that India was depleted, and earlier on in the series they were dismissed for 36, and they had a lot going against them. Players are breaking down, but I can tell you, I take my hat off to the way the Indians played, their grit, their commitment. The nation India could be proud of their cricketing team and their cricketers because they were truly brilliant. And if you compare those sides, compared the experience those sides carried, I think the last test, the Indian team in the last test was nowhere in terms of experience. But I think they made up for it with their commitment and the way they played.
So, where do you see Australia go from here? They had the full strength side, and they still lost at home. Will there be any changes in Australian side? Will they change their captain?
Well, that's an interesting one. I certainly feel that Australian batting seemed to be the problem. They appear to have a very good bowling unit still, and with Nathan Lyon in the mix, they are a very decent bowling attack. But it's the batting. I think the dependency on Smith and Labuschagne is growing, and also the fact that the Australian openers have been failing should be a worry. Warner hasn't been his best, and Australia hasn't found any good opener or openers. So those are worries. So a team cannot kind of depend on one or two players, particularly in your batting. So that will be an area that Australia will have to address. And it will be interesting to see whether they would reinstate Steve Smith as captain and remove Tim Payne. So those are questions to be seen. But I personally feel that Tim Payne as captain might be continued with. But the bigger problem is with the Australian batting.
Okay, yeah, let's see what happens with them in future. As you know, I'm from Pakistan. A lot of people ask me that has Roshan ever been to Pakistan? When I told them I am doing a podcast
Many
with him,
times.
I did told them I think Roshan has even sent a message that how safe Pakistan is. So wanted to know how was your experience? How many times you've been to Pakistan and how has been your experience?
Well, I first came to Pakistan in 1996 when the World Cup final happened. So my association with Pakistan goes that far. But due to then I was in the early 2000s, and then I have been coming. I think I would have been in Pakistan a few times, 7 or 8 times. And the last time, of course, there was an unfortunate situation that happened, which I don't intend to dwell on. But Pakistan government and the board had, made up for it by providing us some fantastic security when we were there the last time. So I personally felt very safe. I had no complaints, and as I have done in the past, I feel that teams should not hesitate or worry to come to Pakistan because it's as safe as any country in the world.
Yeah, indeed, it's safe now. And are you looking forward to Pakistan versus South Africa series?
Well, yes, it would be interesting to look at, particularly after South Africa beat Sri Lanka and Pakistan couldn't win in New Zealand. So Pakistan is now in their home territory, and how will the South Africans play in a foreign land? South Africa also, to me, is in a rebuilding stage. So it's going to be a challenge for them because subcontinental wickets, though it's not exactly Indian, Pakistan wickets can be slightly different to the South African tracks.
So, as talking about rebuilding phase, wanted to know how much time do you think can Sri Lanka rebuild in and go to the glory days of Mahila and Sangakkara at that time and go back to those days?
Your guess is as good as mine. We have been rebuilding for too long now. I mean, Mahila and Sangakkara has gone for more than 5 years.
Yeah.
I think we should have rebuilt by now. So that I don't know, but sooner the better, because I believe that we've got such a wonderful past, such a proud past and a history that the present is struggling in comparison, which is not good.
And I wanted to know how is Mickey Arthur doing and what are the Sri Lankans thought about it because many Pakistanis are missing him.
Well, it's too early, isn't it? I mean, he's just been through what? He's been through few series. So he's just having his first home series. So it's a little bit too early. In fairness to Mickey, because you see, it's very unusual and strange situations, strange conditions, and strange scenarios that the world is faced with. So it's not fair to judge anybody. Mickey Arthur is obviously loved a lot by people, and he's been speaking a lot of sense. And I believe that he has the capacity and the capability to build the Sri Lankan side. So let's hope that he'll be able to achieve that. And most importantly, the authorities and the fans and everyone else need to be patient with him, like with everyone else.
Yeah, hopefully he does well for Sri Lanka. Now, moving on, I wanted to talk about yourself, about your career, how you came into cricket commentating, and how do you came into that business.
Well, I have not played for Sri Lanka and I have no problems about it. But I played a lot of club cricket in this country at different levels. And I honestly put it down to a miracle from above, because with my cricketing background, I'm not fit from a cricketing perspective to sit with some of those greats. But the grace of God has been upon me, and his mercy and favor has been upon me. And as a result of that, I am where I am.
Yeah, and it's always it was good to have you. Always, we are very lucky to have you in the cricket commentary because it's always a pleasure to listen to your commentary. And I have one message for your friend Russell Arnold. If you ever meet him, tell him that he is also invited on my show if he wants to come any day.
Yeah, I'll let him know for sure. For sure, I'll let him know.
So great. It was absolutely pleasure to have you. It was obviously a short interview. Didn't have many questions, but wanted to talk to you. So it was absolute honor to have you on the show, and thank you for giving your all important time.
I am honored to be invited and I wish you all the best.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Same to you. Bye.
Bye.